What's up, everyone? It's the God, Young Montu-Ra, and welcome to Montu-Ra, the podcast, where I talk about the good, the bad, and the downright dirty of music, business, and spirituality. What's up, my gods and goddesses? And we are back again. Full moon energy. I'm kind of piped up on today. I haven't done a real actual episode. This is episode 28. You know what time it is. God, Young Montu-Ra, Young Seer, Young Sorcerer, Young Oracle. I am musician, artist, producer, and DJ. And on today's stream, on today's episode, we're talking about that full moon in Taurus. This is an epic time for all of us. We've been talking a lot about this transformation, 2023. Even in my own personal life, this has been something that, like I said in another pod, was that I'm in the middle of nowhere, and some of us understand that in the sense of spiritually. Some of us understand it physically, but this is like a metamorphosis of our life as a whole, right? And I believe this full moon is a culmination of things, right? We're talking about this Taurus energy. Remember, if you've been following me, we had that full moon lunar eclipse in Scorpio. I believe that was in May. So as we continue to go through this eclipse, if you did check out my last podcast, was about the tide is turning and the moon wobble. Now we're starting to feel this energy as a whole, right? So let's go on the times here real quick before we really get into it. The peak time is going to be at 4:24 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 1:24 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9:24 p. UK, and 10:24 p.m. CEST time. So, like I said, this full moon is a time of a culmination and the promise of fulfillment of that which was started at the new moon. So we love our new moon rituals. We like to start that new beginning. But now this full moon, as we get ready for Halloween, the veil is thinning. This is going to be a very emotional time. I do believe this is a time for romance. Things are fertile. Relationships is going to be a big deal. We are still talking about Taurus, that Toro energy, that goddess energy. I feel like we've been talking about this all fucking year. And this has to do with there's a configuration that's going on with Mercury, Mars, and Jupiter that can like inflate our feelings. We can wrestle with these strong urges, even in my own personal life. Getting my finances together, getting my business together, getting my music situation together, getting things together. And that is like a revelation. We have to have things together before we can actually take action. And I want people to note this that are listening, like, this is one of like several eclipses of a set that has occurred with the Taurus Scorpio axis that has lasted for this like a one set type deal. So in regards to that, it's like November 2021, that lunar eclipse in Taurus, solar eclipse in Taurus, April 2022, a lunar eclipse in Scorpio. Taurus was the opposite sign in May 2022. A solar eclipse in Scorpio in October of 2022, a lunar eclipse in November 2022 in Taurus, and the lunar eclipse in Scorpio that we have back here in May 2023 as well. So this eclipse serves as, I feel like, this is from my own personal study, this is that final prompt, this is that final nudge, this is that final fucking push that we need to make improvements in our life with Taurus and Scorpio ruled areas, meaning that Toro energy is about the beauty, love, it's about art, it's about taking care of ourselves, it's about being down to earth, it's about, kind of appreciating the little things in life. Maybe not little, but like, hey, maybe going on a hike, maybe spending time with your loved ones, maybe just getting fresh air, just being well grounded. And the Scorpio energy has something to do with our feelings of maybe our discontent may magnify, trying to resolve matters, trying to strike balance, taking a lesson and trying to move on from that shit. So what I'm saying is there's going to be a lot of different urgent interest in the physical world as we continue to go through this full moon process. We're going to have a lot of desires that come up. We're going to have a lot of things, even in my own personal life, thinking about things of how they have turned out as I continue to grow. But there is going to be some stubbornness, right? There is going to be a need for some self-interest, and that is always healthy, I believe, and I believe it's necessary now. But this eclipse is going to set us up to kind of stir the need for balance in our lives between collecting and sharing the simple, the complicated, the tangibles, the intangibles, emotional complexities. Emotions, feelings, revelations are now a pivotal point in our life, and that is going to lead to our resolution. And I do believe this is a passionate and creative full moon eclipse. This is epic. We are ripe. We are ripe for this new beginning to take control of our lives. And I say that with a lot of passion as I continue to look at these charts and kind of look at where we are. I'm going to pull this up right now, but it's like we still remember, if you all have been following me for this past year, really, we've been talking a lot about being balanced. And as we look, and as I look at the chart, and as we continue to go through this full moon energy, especially this lunar eclipse, it's like we still don't have any signs in air. We had Mars there for a month and a half or so. Now it's in Scorpio in its home house. I'm going to talk a little bit about that, but we still don't have any air. So we're going to be naturally trying to be balanced, but at the same time, this is something that is going to help us understand our imbalances as well. And I want people to kind of understand that as we continue to move forward. But I do think something is building inside of us, and I cannot say that enough. Now is the time when the energy of the cosmos fairly demands that we let it out, right? This is coming. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's coming out regardless. If you think you're gonna put a baby back into the mom, you got this game fucked up. This energy is coming out, and over the coming months, we will discover what this means for us, right? So I tell everybody this: I don't have the answers for your life. I don't have the answers for anybody's life. This is actually therapeutic for my own life to release this energy. But at the same time, if I can give people understanding and a bit of awareness, I'm doing my job, right? But this energy is helping us to understand that. There's no going back. Our old self is gone. Our new self is in the process of showing up, but it hasn't fully. And I'm going to tell you this till I'm red in the face, is that we're still waiting for the winter solstice to find the answers. But this is a pivotal point where I believe the tides are turning. For now, we can't sit on our feelings, though. We need to express them. So I do believe this is like this this full moon lunar eclipse, this is like the finale of transformation in my own point of view. Like, we're still waiting for the winter solstice, but this is like the finale where we start to see things open up, where those tides are turning, where we start to understand about the past 2 years of our life, right? And that's how we like to talk about, especially astrologically. We can take this back to May with that Scorpio lunar eclipse, and now we're in October. We can talk a ton about that, but this eclipse is accelerating our destiny's timeline, right? We're serving up pivotal turning points. This is our time because this lunar eclipse in stable Taurus delivers like closing revelations around security, resources, and the embodiment of everything. So since November 2021, that first Taurus eclipse, we've unearthed our core fears and cravings. Now at Journey's End, we are trying to integrate the wisdom we have gained about worthiness. And that is an epic point, is because sometimes we can go through our spiritual journey and think that we're not worthy. Now we can go through our spiritual life and think, "Hey, am I not good enough?" And this resonates with me so much. Um, just in my music career, as you all know, if you've been listening, I've transformed and transitioned and rebirthed myself to be a musician, artist, producer, and DJ, from a entrepreneur in regards to the car industry, the detail industry, and a successful business. And I feel like there was more to life for me to complete, to conquer, to strive to, right? And as I start to let go of that old person, And that has been about a year or so. I'm still starting to embody and understand who this new person is trying to become. And I do think these eclipses are helping us to uncover a lot of things that we might have feared, or a lot of things that we're craving. I'm chomping at the bit right now. You mean to tell me I still have yet to have that opportunity that I feel like I deserve, right? And this is something that has come with a lot of work, a lot of sacrifice this past year, a lot of failure, a lot of rejection. But at the same time, I'm still integrating my new person, right? I'm still integrating my new energy. So we're trying to make everything come together. And I do think this is what this eclipse is about. Like, we're trying to be more honorable in managing our desires without attachment or overindulgence, as we cultivate that true abundance, right? Considering what surges of greed or scarcity that this eclipse provokes. So when we're talking about this Taurus energy, we're always going to be talking about a check. We're always going to be talking about a bag. We're always going to be talking about beauty. We're always going to be talking about music. We're always going to be talking about the arts. We're always going to be talking about that. But the thing is that sometimes this can give us this surge of feeling like, if I don't have it now, then I can't get it. You know what I'm saying? Or we might be feeling that energy, or we might be feeling like, you know what, it's not meant for me. It hasn't happened. And I think all of that is bullshit. You understand what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, we are looking with these different energies, with these polarities in a sense, to find that balance. And I do believe, and that leads to gratitude, right? Sharing our blessings and resting in the knowing that there's always enough time, there's always enough money, there's always enough love, there's always enough opportunity, there's always enough everything. And that is something that sometimes we can go through and thinking, we get into this lackful, this scarcity mindset. And even me, I'm thinking like, man, I didn't put in everything I got, and I ain't seen shit. I ain't seen no result. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we might see some results, but we ain't seeing it come out in a monetary value or in some type of physical manifestation that we all desire, right? But at the end of the day, there is still enough. So this lunar eclipse, I believe, is opening up like these emotional portals that are challenging us to release outworn relational patterns or stories, or the bullshit that we've been tapping into, the story that we've created for ourselves. So this is a sidebar, but I told myself I didn't want to be who I was. And that was a story that I was telling myself. I gotta work all day every day to get a check. I gotta be sweating every day. I gotta be using my labor. I gotta be, not sleeping. I gotta be working to the max. It's never enough. You understand what I'm saying? But then when I realized, it's like, well, this can't be the way. Because all the mentors I have is say, bro, you working way too hard. Like, you got the work ethic, but you working too hard. They telling me, bro, work smarter. Don't work harder. You can't work harder than you. You don't need to be out here, like, you can sweat, but damn, bro, like, that's what they trying to help me understand. And I didn't realize that till now, is that we are in this pattern. We set these patterns for ourselves to make us think that we have to do these crazy fucking things to get wherever we want to get to. And sometimes we have to do what we have to do. Don't get me wrong, and I want people to understand that hard work is needed, dedication is needed, being persevering is needed, right? But at the same time, it's about being smarter. And I do believe this is a time for us to express who we are. And I think that Taurus energy is helping us to confront our fears as powerfully. And I do believe that's more purifying to our soul. So this allowing our feelings to move through our inner landscapes, trusting the cycle of the natural tides, the rise and fall of security, the ebb and flow of enoughness. Through faith, the universe nourishes us exactly as we need, precisely when we need it. And I know I'm speaking to the choir if you're listening to this. I'm really speaking to myself because I need to hear this shit. But at the end of the day, this is what it's about. It's helping us to understand that the universe has our back even when it looks like it doesn't. That's fucked up to even think that we even go through that, but it's true. Like even my own personal life, this whole year has been a clusterfuck in the sense of you're like, man, what the fuck is going on? Like, and I like to always have everything detailed oriented. I like to write everything down. I like to have things on times. I find myself actually sleeping in a little bit, taking it easy a little bit, and that's not even like me. Like I'm usually up, ready to get after and taking care of business. But I do believe we're all going through a cycle where we need to rest, and that is something that I believe this full moon in Taurus is helping us to understand. Rest is as important as action is. And that took me a long time to understand it. I still don't understand it because if I'm not moving and grooving, I feel like I'm losing. You understand what I'm saying? But at the same time, the answers we seek are within. Practice self-love is another theme that I feel like this full moon is helping us to understand. Embrace and acknowledge the beauty around us. Rest, relax, and reflect. Breaking free of these fucking comfort zones. Indulging in pleasures of life is to be enjoyed, not frowned upon, right? Sometimes we can let our hair down. If you're like me, you don't have any hair, so you cut your hair off. And but at the end of the day, we're acknowledging the fact that we deserve more. And that's where I'm at in my life. Like, you know what? I'm like, fuck this shit. I deserve this shit. You understand what I'm saying? Like, we can always look like, no, I'm not. Everybody has problems. There are people going hungry, and there's people living on the street, and we pray for those people, and we want to help those people, and we help those people. But at the same time, I can only speak for me, and I'm saying, you know what? I deserve more than this. I deserve more than what I got now. And I think that's a human reaction, is because I tell this story all the time. Is like we deserve more is because we do, right? It doesn't have to be like I deserve more because I did X, Y, and Z. I deserve more because I did this. It's like fuck that. I deserve more because I said I deserve more. Not in a greedful way, not in a boisterous way, like oh I'm better than. No, not that bullshit. I'm talking about just us as people. We all deserve more if that's what we feel, and I do believe we're going to get that, and I do believe that is helping us to understand and acknowledge our own self-worth. Once we start to understand our self-worth, we say, you know what? And this is a sidebar as well, I had a couple deals presented to me from some independent labels and some from some major labels in a sense with quotes. You know how I'm all about the scams, but it was like, hey, we'll give you X amount of dollars, but you got to pay so and so this and do that, and you got to use these funds for this, that. And I'm thinking, and at the end result, it was a 6-figure contract, but at the end result, it was like leaving me with a couple bands, and I'm thinking, well, shit. If y'all believe that I'm worth this amount, I'm not gonna get the whole bag, and I'm not tripping on being able to split it up. Like I do business, I'm a young entrepreneur. I get it. But they're not going to fool me and think, well, if we offering you this, well, I'm thinking, well, somebody else going to offer more where I can get more piece of the pie than me thinking I got to hire somebody else to create my own music. Like, it's fucking stupid. So that is helping me to understand my self-worth. And sometimes we have to acknowledge that. And sometimes we have to understand that we have to be able to practice more persistence, right? We have to create solid foundations. We have to understand our worth. And that goes with me and everybody. It's like I'm just giving you just a little example, but it's like, yeah, we can accept this. I told you all before I worked for $5 an hour, $8 an hour cleaning cars, and that was me not understanding my self-worth. I thought I was worth $5 an hour. I thought I was worth that. And then I started to build myself up. And then you start to say, well, they're offering you a 6-figure contract. It's like, man, fuck that 6-figure contract. when at the end of the day, when I'm getting a couple bands out of it. So when we start to understand our self-worth, we start to say, you know what, fuck this shit. Something else is better out there for me. Something else is out there is going to align with me even better. And I know the Most High wants me to have the best because we are the best. So we have to understand that. But I do believe this eclipse marks the dragon head, right? This is some more astrological terms, but the North Node is pointing towards instability. So we're trying to find that balance. That's a sense of urgency that we're having. A balanced urgency with patience, if that even makes sense, right? But we're trying to create this solid foundation, but at the same time stay resilient and stay focused and not rush the process. So we might feel a bit restlessness of forcing the flow, and that's something that I'm really good at. I'll force this motherfucker till it flow, right? But at the same time, I notice that gives us a bit of restlessness. So instead, making time for journaling, embodiment, and integration, fortifying our physical vessels with ample hydration, nutrition, and rest. And this is something that I just don't even want to fucking talk about. Rest and hydration and all this bullshit, right? But it is to a point, is because I've worked myself so much that I could only do with rest. You understand what I'm saying? Like I'll turn up so much that I'll burn myself out, and I can't do nothing but sit down. So like I said before, there is like a sense of moving towards our goals with not actually doing anything. And that, to me, that is hard to believe. But that is another story that I tell myself and say, hey, you need to rest. You can work your ass off, but rest your ass off too. So confirm there is enough by fully savoring simple sensory pleasures. Warm sun on the skin, uh, music, maybe you did a new art piece or something like that. So, and I do see with Mars being in Scorpio has something to do with our desires sharpening us into focus, distilling this motivation down to the essence, helping us to understand who we are, but at the same time discarding the superficial bullshit of trying to um, trying to make people accept who we are. And this, I know with my own energy, I'm an acquired taste. Either you love me or you don't, and I don't give a fuck which one you do. Especially with Mars and Scorpio being in its home sign. I know we were taught Aries is the ruler of Mars, Mars is the ruler of Aries, but at the same time, if you know old school astrology, Scorpio, Mars is actually the ruler of Scorpio. So we have a penetrating instinct to confront our innermost spheres, still limiting our worthiness, then trying to harness this divine will to manifest our self-acceptance. And I do think that is the goal of this full moon lunar eclipse. I know it is in Taurus, but we're still talking about this opposition here in Scorpio. So this is epic, and I want to give a quick rundown on the elements, the themes for the elements that I believe are going to be associated with this full moon. Fire signs, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius, to create financial stability and abundance. Release worries about money. Water signs, Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. Release communication issues. Speak your truth in order to deepen relationships with others. Air signs, Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. It's time to find balance between the needs of your loved ones and your own self-care. And lastly, our earth signs, Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. Do not focus on what others think of you. Being true to yourself is the best fucking self-care. So you know what I'm gonna say with this full moon. Who gives a fuck about what anybody says? Let's get it in together. I appreciate everybody for tapping. I had so many people continue to encourage me, to tell me to continue to inspire people. And I tell everybody all the time, I'm going through my own shit as well. So me getting on here and trying to stay consistent with my podcast and my music and all this shit, and while I'm going through my own personal transformation, it's been tough, it's been challenging, but I am super grateful for everybody out there that's reached out to me on all the different platforms. Shout out to everybody on my Beagle live stream app. Shout out to everybody on my other socials and Twitter and Instagram and everything. Much love to everybody out there. I appreciate everybody out there. Shout out to everybody. Much love to everybody. Shout out to everybody on this full moon in Taurus lunar eclipse. Peak time again is 4:24 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 1:24 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9:24 p. UK, 10:24 p. CEST time. It's the God Young Montu-Ra. And I will see you in the next one. Peace.